Hello, 'tis I, the ASMR Yeti, or you can call me Jade. Today's video is going to be about Craigmillar Castle. This is a castle that I live kind of close by, and I decided to film my walk the other day on the hottest day of the year in Scotland, because it's very beautiful and very relaxing. I'm going to read out some information and facts about the castle whilst I show you its beauty. I'm new to filming, especially holding the camera outside, so there may be some wobbles or some zooms that aren't very slow or peaceful to watch. I'm very sorry. I tried my hardest with it, but I'll improve for next time. Okay, so currently there's a little walk. There's like a hole or a gate in the wall, and it takes you through these lovely woods, very short woods, and then it leads to this beautiful field which has Scottish thistles in it, which I show you as well. And then there's a small walk up a hill, and then there's just this beautiful castle called Craigmillar Castle. I'm reading the facts from the Craigmillar Castle Wikipedia, which I will link in the description if you're interested in reading up on it. Craigmillar Castle is a ruined medieval castle in Edinburgh, Scotland. It is 3 miles, 4.8 kilometers, southeast of the city centre. The Preston family of Craigmillar, the local feudal barons, began building the castle in the late 14th century, and building works continued for the 15th and 16th centuries. In 1660, the castle was sold to a Sir John Gilmore, Lord President of the Court of Session. He then made further alterations. The Gilmores left Craigmillar Castle in the 18th century, and then the castle fell into a ruin. The castle is now in the safe hands of Historic Environment Scotland, and it's a scheduled monument. If you sign up for Historic Scotland, you can get in for free. You pay, I think it's only a couple of pounds a month for your membership, and you can even go inside the castle and explore what's left of it. Craigmillar Castle is best known for its association with Mary, Queen of Scots. Following an illness after the birth of her son, the future James VI, Mary arrived at Craigmillar on 20th of November 1566. Craigmillar is one of the best preserved medieval castles in Scotland. The central tower house, or keep, is surrounded by a 15th century courtyard wall with particularly fine defensive features. In this are additional ranges, and the whole is enclosed by an outer courtyard wall, a chapel, and a ducat. The Preston family were first granted land in the area by King David II in 1342 and held 2/3 of the estate. In a further grant of 1374, King Robert II gave the remaining lands of Craigmillar to Sir Simon de Preston, Sheriff of Midlothian. It was Simon's son, Simon Preston, or his grandson, Sir George Preston, who began to work on the tower house, which now forms the core of the castle. This was in place by 1425, when a charter was sealed at Craigmillar by Sir John Preston. The courtyard wall was probably added by Sir William Preston, who had travelled in France and drew on continental inspiration for his work. He also brought back the arm of St. Giles, which he presented to the High Kirk of Edinburgh, where the Preston Isle is named for him. In the late 1470s, John Stuart, Earl of Mar, brother of King James III, was held prisoner at Craigmillar because he was accused of practicing witchcraft against the king. He later died in suspicious circumstances. In 1511, Craigmillar was erected into a barony, and the outer courtyard was built around this time, possibly by another Simon Preston, Member of Parliament for Edinburgh in 1487. In September 1517, an outbreak of plague in Edinburgh. The infant James V of Scotland moved to safety at Craigmillar. His French guardian had new locks made for his chamber and the 2 iron gates, and a stable was built for the king's mule. The family chapel within the outer court was first recorded in 1523. In 1544, during the so-called rough wooing of Henry VIII of England, the English attempted to impose by military force a marriage alliance between Edward, Prince of Wales, and the young Mary, Queen of Scots. Craigmillar Castle was burned by English troops under the Earl of Hertford. The Baron, Sir Simon Preston, had the castle repaired, with domestic ranges in the courtyard being remodelled. Sir Simon served as Lord Provost of Edinburgh for several years and was a loyal supporter of Queen Mary, who appointed him her Privy Council. Queen Mary stayed at Craigmillar twice, in September 1563 and from 20th November to December 1566. she is traditionally said to have slept in the small former kitchen within the tower house, although it is more likely that she occupied a larger accommodation in the relatively new East Range. On her second stay, Mary was still poor in health following a serious illness in October. Several of her noblemen were with her and suggested to her that her unpopular husband, Henry Stuart, could be removed either by divorce or by other means. An agreement, the Craigmillar Bond, was signed by Mary's Secretary of State, and several nobles, including the Earls of Bothwell, Argyll, and Huntly. The bond does not survive, but set out the conspirators' intent to remove Darnley. Although Mary made it clear that she was unhappy with Darnley, she was not part of the conspiracy and was probably unaware of the plot to kill her husband. It was initially intended that Darnley would lodge at Craigmillar when he returned to Edinburgh, although he opted to stay at Kirk O'Field in the town, where he was murdered on 10th of February 1567. I hope you enjoyed listening to the history of this castle, even a brief history of it. I want to turn this into a series where I explore different castles in Scotland and Edinburgh and give you a bit about their history. So if you enjoyed it, please let me know, because I'll definitely do it with more. And if in future I might be able to even go inside. Have a wonderful sleep, and I will see you